2024 has been a pretty solid year for Doctor Who products. Let's talk about them. Hello and welcome to the Northern Dalek YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a Doctor Who action figure 2024 retrospective review. I'm also going to be including a lot of opinions from other collectors. I put a thing out on my Instagram and Twitter page to get like opinions and favourite picks and whatever. I'm going to go through every single release and then I'm going to give you my top 3 favourites that have been released this year. So throughout the year, there's been about 7 different release dates. The first one we're going to talk about is the Fugitive Doctor and TARDIS set, which was released back in January of this year. And before I talk about the figures and the TARDIS and just the whole set as a whole, I quickly want to talk about the main talking point about this release, which was the absolute chaos that went on trying to order this thing. But nevertheless, let's talk about the actual set itself. It's a great one. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the Fugitive Doctor and just her inclusion into the timeline, but in terms of a figure and as a set, I love the TARDIS. I think the figure itself is great. It's definitely one that a lot of new Who fans or just Doctor Who fans in general have been asking for. Was it on my top figures to get? Absolutely not, but I am glad that I have it. And yeah, it was a solid way to start the year. In April, we had the Ruins of Skaro set, which included 1 Suicide Dalek or Bomber Dalek and 2 Mavellan figures for the first time ever. And I gotta say, this is one of my favourite sets of the entire year. I just think the Mavellans are done super well. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Destiny of the Daleks by any means. I genuinely think it is probably the weakest classic Who Dalek story. But the figures that character have been putting out, whether that's the History of the Dalek sets or this set in particular, I think they have done amazing. So yeah, the Mavellans weren't figures or characters or whatever that I wanted on the shelf, but they were such a nice surprise and they're great. Same with the Suicide / Bomber Dalek. It was such a nice variant to get into the collection, especially if you have that History of the Dalek set. It just pairs super well with those other 2 Daleks. In September, we had 4 separate releases. We had the 15th Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver, and we had the first wave of B&M set, which was the Emperor Dalek, Davros, and the Resurrection of the Daleks set. Yeah, a solid month. Despite my dislike for this design, as I've said in my Sonic Screwdriver sort of review video, this is probably one of the best Sonic Screwdrivers made as a toy. I just think it's great, and despite my dislike of it being a Sonic Screwdriver on screen and as a prop, as a toy, it's great. So to me, if a toy can do that with a design that you're not a fan of, I think it's done its job. That, and also, as mentioned, we did get the B&M set, which was the Emperor Davros and the Resurrection set. So firstly, let's talk about the Emperor Davros. What a nice release. I've got to say, it's arguably probably one of the most sought after releases, along with like the Special Weapons Dalek and the Destroyed Imperial. I know this was one that a lot of collectors were after, so to finally get it, it was really nice, as well as the Resurrection set. The Supreme Dalek from that story is one of my favourites. So finally being able to get that on the shelf in some form was great. But yeah, September just overall was such a solid month. In October, very early October, we got the Vortex figures, which was the 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday figure, which were based on the church on Ruby Road, I believe. These were the only releases I can think off the top of my head that came out in October. And yeah, these were great too. Don't get me wrong, they had their issues with QC and just paint apps here and there. But overall, the figures as a whole, they're solid. Then in November, we had the retail versions of the 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday. This was such a pleasant surprise because you could go out to certain retailers or whatever and actually just pick up a Doctor Who toy now. It was so refreshing, especially after so many years of not being able to do that and only being able to do this through B&M. So to finally go into like certain retailers, whether that's, I don't know, Argos or whatever, or even if you're shopping online and you can go on Amazon and being able to just order them, it's so nice to see. Regardless of whether it's one figure or two or a full wave, it's a nice start, and hopefully this means we eventually will get more. And finally, this takes us right up to December with the second wave of B&M sets. This is the Parting of the Ways set, which is another History of the Daleks set, and a Friends and Four set, which is a 3-pack, which includes River Song, a Cyberman, and a Clockwork Droid. And then the Parting of the Ways set is a Imperial Guard Dalek and a Standard Drone or Assault Dalek. This, for me, is the only part of the year I would consider being a bit whatever. Don't get me wrong, the History of the Daleks set looks great, and to be fair, so does the Friends and Four set, but these are just two sets that I'm not entirely fussed on, so I'm not gonna, shout from the heavens to say they're amazing. Don't get me wrong, if you only collect Modern Who, or if you collect everything, it's probably exciting for you, but for me, I don't need them. Not to say they're bad by any means, I just don't need them. But I will be picking up the History of the Daleks set. It's just that Friends and Four set that kind of throws me. I just think it's such an odd selection of figures to put in a set. But it's nowhere near as bad as including 3 of the same figure. I'm talking about the 10th Doctor set or that 8th Doctor set. So my top 3 favourites of the year. And in no order, I'm just going to kind of go for it. Firstly, the Ruins of Scarborough set. I love this set so much. I just want to say quickly, every single set or a single thing I mention, I have bought double of, which is very rare for me, because I typically only buy one of something and then that is it. But with everything on this list in terms of my top 3 picks, I bought multiples. The Ruins of Scarborough set, I bought 2 of them. I just think it's an amazing set. I know there was a lot of thing about the pricing and stuff, but honestly, it doesn't bother me. My second pick is the Resurrection of the Dalek set. Again, another set that I bought 2 of, just because there was the 2 different variants, which I absolutely love. It's a shame that I'm kind of left with another Supreme Dalek that I don't need, but I can either sell it or make it a custom. But this set is just, arguably one of my most wanted History of the Daleks sets to be released when the line was first announced and we kind of got an idea of what the line was going to be. This was the one I was waiting on, so when they didn't release it last year, that annoyed me as well as annoying many other collectors. I thought we had missed our chance on this set, so finally getting it, I was incredibly happy to finally own that Supreme. And I genuinely love the drones, both versions, even if the colouring isn't exactly right to what we see on the episodes. And then for my third and final pick, I've got to say the retail 15th Doctor figure. Now, I do love the Vortex version, but seeing this one in person and now owning it and keeping it mint on card, I've got to say, I'm very tempted to buy another one just to open, just because I really love the look of this figure, which is based on the Space Babies kind of outfit. I just think it's a great figure, and I just think the retail versions, both of 15 and Ruby, are a lot better than the Vortex variants that we get. Now I'm going to read off the responses, opinions from other collectors in the community, what their favourite figures were through the year. And let's get straight into it. Just want to say I am dyslexic, so I apologise if my reading is shite. Won't let me fit my response, so I'll send it as a message. Cheers, mate. For me, it has to be the Emperor Davros. Despite it having the least amount of new things to offer, it has paradoxically impressed me more than any other 2024 figure. The revised paint apps are so nice and crisp, it is to die for. Emperor Davros was easily my favourite, wanted it since I was a kid. Remembrance Davros for sure. The Fugitive Doctor and TARDIS set. The Ruins of Scarborough set. History of the Daleks. 19 just completes my 9th Doctor collection. Fugitive, great start to getting accessories again, good to new sculpts and great likenesses. I gotta agree. Parting of the Ways, of course. Deluxe 15 Sonic. It's gorgeous and packed full of sounds and lights and moving parts. Davros, no. 15 and Ruby, the retail versions. Good picks. Emperor Davros. Runes of Skaro set for me. Not a massive fan of the story, but the Mavellan figures are excellent. The Emperor, Dalek, Davros, easily. Runes of Skaro. By far 15 and Ruby, they are a huge step up in quality with the updates and only a few flaws. Davros 15 and Ruby. For me, it has to be pretty much most of the figures character options I've released this year. And finally, Fugitive set, purely because I'm surprised they made it and that it was as made as well as it was. And finally, what are my hopes for 2025 regarding the Doctor Who action figure range? Whether that's B&M, online or retail. Firstly, I just want to say, I hope we are phasing out B&M and moving away from that, because I genuinely don't think there's anyone that finds looking for these things in B&M fun anymore. Me, myself, I don't. I hate it. I hope we're kind of moving away from B&M and focusing more on retail. And the online exclusives, I hope we still get them because they are always great. They always offer something really, really nice. And yeah, I just hope we get another year of great stuff, because if 2024 is anything to go off, hopefully it's good things. Hopefully it's just good things from here and out, and this is the start of something very promising. But we'll have to wait and see. Thank you so much to those who have submitted stuff for this video. I massively appreciate it, and hopefully I'll be doing more videos like these down the line, whether that's asking for opinions on new sets and whatnot, and I could kind of do it in these styles where I include your responses and whatnot. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.